Good evening. Welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review. I'm happy to be with you tonight. You know, had I known 3 weeks ago what I know today, I might have done this a little differently, but I didn't. So I'm just going to tell you that tonight's show should have been done the week of Halloween, but it isn't. It's done tonight. The first time I heard this young man perform, I was at the Pass Guitar in Westerly. And I had been told about him a lot. I had people bring him to my attention, and I had just never had the opportunity to hear him. I think that you're going to find him to be, number one, extremely talented, and number two, a real pleasure to listen to. So help me welcome into your home, Haunt the House.
Chair, and I wait for you to get here. Baby, he sleeps as I breathe his hair, but you disappear into thin air. Oh dear, is it over? You are a bitch, I'm a soldier. Oh dear, is it almost done? Will I take up my rest in the mountains? I just sing these songs, and I was just fine till you came along. My gun, it sits in the kitchen. Oh dear, is it over? You are a witch, I'm your lover. Oh dear, is it almost done? Will I take up my rest in the mountains? Thank you very much. I didn't write out a set list. I wasn't quite sure of what to expect when I got here, but the nerves are still there, so it's just like every other show. Distant lives and distant lovers, she was once his little bird. He went over waterfalls in barrels. He was that absurd. He was to prove his love. He was. He and she, they wrote those letters back and forth for years and years. He was always tied in fetters. She was wandering from here to there, from here to there, from here to there. Distant lives and distant lovers, you were once my little bird. I went over waterfalls in barrels. I was that absurd. I was to prove my love. I was. You and I, we wrote those letters back and forth for years and years. I was always tied in fetters. You were wandering from here to there, from here to there, from here to there.
Nicely done.
I have two boys. They're now pretty grown. My oldest is 16 and my youngest is 11. I sort of did the rock and roll lifestyle backwards, got married and divorced twice and had 2 kids out of each marriage. Long story short, I was having some difficulty being without them for quite some time and still do. And this is a lullaby that I wrote for them a long time ago. Oh, tattered ones, please never forget that all of your life you are caught in my net, in my net. How terrible, how we are torn apart. And I'm an older man now. a thought. Mother's sons, no, we are not done till every nightmare and dream is to come, is to come. And those bright stars that we wish upon, as real as they are still millions of miles away. But here I am, I will hold you in my arms, I will cover you, no matter what evil may do. Tattered one, please never forget that all of your life you are caught in my net, in my net. And mother's sons, no, we are not done till every nightmare and dream is to come, is to come. 1,000 cattle wide, 4 horses and 2 men. Light upon twisted branch, an arm above the land. I'll shout about the weaker ones delivered to your clan. We are a pack of teeth and evil on the run. We will gnash tenaciously until the work is done. We offer you the body flesh upon which you will feast. Feed upon its spirit as it passes through your being. Twisted branch, an arm above the land. I'll shout about the weaker ones delivered to your clan. I'm going to sing a new song that I had written for a friend of mine. Song's called Rebecca. Oh, Rebecca, my heart is split in two, waiting these long decades for you behind the wheel. In sliding window, broken cigarettes littered their bodies across my floor. I cannot speak what's on my mind. Oh, the years have torn me apart and left me behind. Oh, Rebecca, my heart is full next to you. You comfort my soul and you make my vision new. Rebecca, I've longed so long for you. Oh, Rebecca, I've longed so long for you. Oh, Rebecca, I've longed so long for you. An unreleased song. It's not necessarily new. I've played it a bunch of times. Play it out at shows and whatnot. It's the story of an abusive relationship, psychologically and emotionally, set in the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Well, I followed my love to the forest deep, where away she ran from a so-called beast, yelling, "You are the weight that is killing me." And she fled to the dark where she meant to be free. She fled to the dark where she meant to be free. She said, "I'll leave you in the doorway before the blood runs red. And there's a violence in your voice, and it speaks like death." So I hollered and I howled and I bare my breath, and I led her to the house where we once both slept. And I led her to the house where we once had slept. And she passed on through the threshold, saying, "This is what I mean. You're a murderous wolf, and you'll always be. And I need to be happy, darling, can't you see? That you're a murderous wolf, and you'll always be. You're a murderous wolf, and you'll always be. You're a murderous wolf, and you'll always be." I followed my love to the forest deep, where away she ran from a so-called beast, yelling, "You are the weight that is killing me."
Woohoo!
Switch guitars here for a second. I love you, lady, and I love our bed, how it covers you from your toes to head, and it keeps us warm, and its sheets are red. But I love you, lady, and I love our dog, how he paws at us in the early morn, and the sun is up and our bed is torn. I love you, lady, and the bells loud peal across the Arkansas streams, echoes in our dreams, makes us jive and reel in the sky's blue gleam. But I love you, lady, cannot keep my mouth from yelling out from the north to south till I tire out, till I tire out. But I love you, lady, and the time is right to stay up all night, drinking gin and wine. I am yours, you're mine, till the end of time. Sure, sounds good to me. This
a song I wrote about my brother and his passing in 2012. Broken vessels, sunken ships, in the darkness, death's hold grips. To me tightly, won't let go. From Bird Island, I will go. Oh, my love, don't turn away. I'll be with you night and day. In the morning, in the eve, I'll be with you, please believe. Though this dark material is quite gone, ethereal, well, I am now with the one. From Bird Island I have come. Oh, my son, don't misbehave. Mother's heart you're meant to save. And my daughter, cry a song. From Bird Island I have gone. Broken vessel, sunken ships, in the darkness, love's hold grips. To me tightly, won't let go. From Bird Island I will go.
All right. So while Will is getting ready to come over and sit and put his microphone on, I will tell you guys all about the wonderful things going on in downtown New London. There's going to be Small Shop Saturday is coming up, and please go out and shop the small shops, the mom and pop shops, the places, the art galleries, the whatever, the Telegraph even, the Hive, skate shop, the Glass Lass, where you can get your glass prescriptions filled and find really cool, really cool frames for your glasses. There's all kinds of really great shops in downtown New London. Please get down there and check them out and shop for your gifts in a local place. The big box companies don't care about your money. When you buy a gift that has been made by a local artisan or is in a small shop that is locally owned, that money stays here in the community, and it's so important to support our own community. So now we're going to talk to Will. Hey,
Hi, how are you?
how are you?
I'm doing well.
It took a lot to get you here.
Yeah, we won't get into that though.
No, we won't. We won't get into all of that. We
Yeah.
won't get into all of that. I'm so glad to have you here. Your music is enriching.
Oh, well, thank you.
I would use that word. I expected it to be a little bit more melancholy than it is.
Oh.
And it's not. It's uplifting and it's encouraging, and it's got its own unique sound. Where do you think that unique sound comes from, Will?
You mean as far as technically wise?
No, from you.
Or from me? I don't know. It actually, I'm glad that you say that it's uplifting because I'm sort of geared toward the melancholy. And I write a lot of sad songs because kind of it's just where I live. It's where I'm most comfortable writing. I'm not sure exactly why. I do have a lot of upbeat feeling songs that I write about that I like. You know, I like the last song about, oh, not the last one, but the I Love You Lady. It's called Lady. Just enjoying life, you know.
Right.
But I do come from a place of melancholy.
Yes, you do.
I have had a lot of experience in which I've had my heart broken. So, I mean, it's easy to kind of follow the same track.
I think as an artist, though, allowing yourself to feel those feelings and put them into your music is a very real place to be.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And I think that as a musician, what you're doing for those of us that are normal earth people that can't write songs is putting a voice to our emotions.
Sure.
You give words to things that I think, but I don't know how to express.
That's true. I mean, thank you, number one. I think the job that I have here playing music is about validation for folks. And just so that they can recognize themselves in a song or a situation, or just allow them enough room to recognize that they're not alone. I think that's really important. I think that is my job. I mean, there's probably more aspects to it, but if I'm not doing that and connecting with people, then I don't know why I would be playing music.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. So that gives you purpose to your music. Let's talk a little bit about your musical past. Did you grow up in a musical home?
Not necessarily. I grew up in a home in which we weren't really allowed to listen to any secular music.
Ouch.
Well, I love my parents. Let me say that
No,
firsthand.
no. That's fine.
But it was very tough for me to listen to music outside of any sort of traditional church music or
I
anything
understand
that was
that. I grew
praised.
up with the same kind of thing. My dad's pastor.
And oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so-
so you can understand. And,
I do.
You know, when my parents they both worked an inordinate number of hours to support us, and we were quote unquote latchkey kids for a little while. And there was a certain amount of time in between jobs where I would be able to. They were old hippies, so they didn't get rid of a lot of their stuff.
Nice.
And I ended up cutting my teeth on albums like The Kids Are All Right and Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits and the Beatles, the White Album, and
My
Sgt.
favorite,
Sgt.
by
Pepper's.
the way.
The
That's
White
my
Album.
favorite Beatles album. Is
And
the White
it's
One.
incredible.
It's in my car.
And so like I would just soak that stuff in. And my sister had a piano at one point, and she was kind of dabbling in it. And like my uncle had given it to her, and I would remember sitting on the stairs and just being like, I want to play, but I was afraid to ask because that meant that somehow I would be delving into music, and then I might get in trouble, you know. So
Right?
So I never really asked, you know. But for whatever reason, the piano has always been sort of like an instrument that I haven't quite learned yet, but still fool around with, and is just this beautiful sort of touchstone for when I decided I would want to play music. Very young, and I didn't realize that until much later. So.
Well, I
Yeah.
believe that a piano is a piece of furniture that belongs in every home.
Absolutely, yeah.
And every child should have access to a piano.
Right.
That's just my opinion. I say it, I'd probably say it every show. Every show that the piano is brought up, because I do believe that it's a very important instrument So anyway, so you weren't playing instruments, you weren't playing guitar as a little boy. When did you actually start playing guitar?
Oh, the same uncle that had provided my sister with a piano, he gave me my first guitar. It was an electric guitar.
Nice.
I was of a very shy disposition when I was a kid, like really shy.
More so than now.
More so than now. Yeah, like for example, I say this a lot, and people think it's really funny, but when I was in high school, I was so introverted that when we had study period, we used to have it in the cafeteria.
Right.
And on the way to the cafeteria, there was a boiler room, and I used to go and take naps in the boiler room instead of dealing with other people. So yeah, that was the type of person that I was. So I taught myself how to play in my bedroom, and just basically like variations of the E chord everywhere up and down the fretboard as much as I possibly could, and then put songs together. But I never really focused on writing a song until much later, like maybe 25, 26.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what happened to you? Because you're an extremely good songwriter.
Well, thank you.
So what made you realize that you could actually write a song, and what made you decide to start writing music?
Oh, I had gotten married when I was 20, very young, and divorced by 22. It was kind of always doomed to fail. I had my first son out of that, and I was really devastated. And I had moved back into my parents' house, and they had this program on their computer called SoundForge or something like that. And basically, like I could record something and play it backwards and invert the sounds. And so I started playing guitar along with it because I had gotten an acoustic through that divorce.
Okay.
And I just really wasn't doing anything much, just playing around with sound. But then I had jumped from the frying pan into the fire in my life and gotten married again. And
Nice.
yeah, so when I was 24-ish, 25, and then during that time, my second wife was a songwriter. And
Really?
Yeah, and she's actually very good. She's still playing. I had been writing and playing together with her for that whole time, but then we ended up divorcing, separating, and that's how I ended up with this custom amp through that whole thing.
It's a good amp.
It's beautiful. I love that baby. She's awesome. But yeah, I knew that she could write music, and I held a lot of like resentment in the divorce, and it wasn't a good time period of my life, but it was good in the fact that like I was like, well, I'm gonna do this because you do this, and I ended up playing a few open mics, and yeah, I got a good reception, and so I kept doing it. At first, it was like, I'm going to be better than you kind of thing, and then it just quickly switched to, well, actually, I like doing this, and I'm getting a good reception. I think I'm good at it, so I'm going to keep going with it.
You are good at it.
So that was how it started, was just playing open mics and just trying to express my feelings. I'm a visual artist as well, but and I had extensive training in painting and graphic design and stuff early on, but I found that my paintings weren't really expressing what I needed to express, and I needed to connect with somebody. Yeah, they kept getting larger and larger, and they were becoming more dynamic, and it wasn't fulfilling me that as it used to, and so I decided that I was going to turn it into a message and like just try to make it something out of it. So that's kind of how it all happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you saw that your artwork wasn't really doing it, and you took that and turned it into music. Now I have to ask, where did the name Haunt the House come from?
Haunt the House came from as I was playing open mics and I was trying out falsettos and different things. I would play songs in falsetto and then try to lower my voice and play in a different range or register. People would come up to me afterwards and tell me that my voice was haunting. And obviously that's a very good compliment, and I took it as such, but I also was raised a Christian, and so the Spirit of the Lord, the Holy Spirit is indwelt in your body, and your body is the temple of the Lord, the temple is the house. And so I was trying to incorporate the traditional hymnals. Like I have one song called Hymnal, and that's a big influence on me. The New England traditional church hymns, and I could never really. This is just part of. I love that type of music. It's just amazing.
I love the old time hymns. I do.
They're beautiful.
They really are.
And nobody needs to be able to be a good singer to sing them. Like it's fantastic. You can go into a church and everybody can be singing the same song, and nobody knows how to carry a tune.
Right.
But it's so uplifting and and you know, you can get moved, and you can. I've found myself in church like crying because it's so real, you know, and there's no pretentiousness there. It's just open, honest, real, genuine people just crying out to God. It's just fantastic. And so that plays into it, you know, and Haunt the House, so it made sense to
That works. That works really well. I actually have found myself crying when not in church to old hymns. Amazing Grace in particular is tattooed up my back. The whole song is just tattooed up my back.
It must have been a long tattoo session.
It was an interesting time in my life. We'll say that. So what makes you write a song? What is it that gets you to sit down and write a song? And how do you go about doing that?
How in depth do you want me to go?
Go.
Okay, so recently I haven't been playing out much, so I've been writing as much as I often can. And I've also been trying to pay bills and do all those other things that life requires you to do. But when I do sit down and I have the mind to write a song and comp it out and finish it and write words and see if I can get to the end of the line, so to speak, I just write notes upon notes upon notes. And sometimes I'll write and it doesn't look like I'm writing much. It's just ideas that go into this song, and then I'll, you know, or feeling. I'll write words down for a specific feeling and toss that aside and think about it for a while and play the song over again and listen to the guitar and let it guide me as to where it needs to go and how I'm feeling. And if they don't match, then it won't work. And if it does match, then it does work. But that's not always the case. Sometimes I have a very precise way of writing.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll sit down, like I just said, and just have all these ideas kind of floating around. And I have to like reach into the air and grab these things, and everything has to sort of work together, and that's the inspiration part. But for example, the album Jackrabbit Jones that I have, we released that in 2014. I had an idea. I had the songs. A lot of the lyrics weren't finished, but what I did was set aside one day a week. And I made sure that it didn't matter if I had inspiration for the songs or not. I would sit down and finish each song. So my goal was one song a day, every Thursday.
Okay.
And I would write, and I would write, and I would write, and I would write, and I would throw stuff away, and I would write, and I would throw stuff away, and I would write, and I'd try to get to the end of it. And I think it took about maybe 2.5 months altogether to 2.5 months of Thursdays.
Okay.
to get Jackrabbit Jones to a point where it was thematically correct. That's a concept album.
Yep.
Excuse me. It's a conversation between 3 personalities and 2 people.
Okay.
So there's Jackrabbit Jones, who is the main character, and then he has a split personality who is King Amish. So it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Right.
King Amish is jealous of Jackrabbit's love for his wife Prairie and her love for him. And so the whole album is all the songs are directed at one character or another, or both at the same time. And it was difficult to work out, and but I did it, and it seems to work fairly well. And you can kind of pick out the album on the album. If you listen to it, you can pick out which ones are King Amish's songs, and which ones are Jackrabbit songs, and which ones are Prairie songs.
Now, is there a place we can find that album?
Yes, that's on Bandcamp at the moment. It's also on iTunes and what's the other? Spotify, I believe.
Okay.
That's there. So if you go to bandcamp.hauntthehouse.com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on there.
So our listeners can go to Bandcamp. Is that / Haunt the House?
It's www.bandcamp.hauntthehouse.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So people can find that on Bandcamp and on iTunes.
iTunes and Spotify.
And on Spotify.
And I think it might be on other streaming sites, but I did this whole package where they distributed to streaming, and it was quite a while ago, so I don't remember much of it. But
it was only a couple of years ago.
If you look at my Instagram, you can message me. I encourage anyone to message me who feels compelled to. I love talking to people, so
okay.
And I'll let you know where
Where
it is.
can people find you on Instagram?
It's at hauntthehouse.com.
At hauntthehouse.com.
No, not .com. Sorry.
No,
it's just
at
hauntthehouse
on Instagram.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I did tag you in there, so there is a picture of you up there.
Sure. Cool.
At Haunt the House. That's
yeah,
awesome.
That's all new stuff to me. I don't,
so I just want to ask you one quick question.
Sure.
Rebecca seems to be a love song.
It is, yeah.
It is, and you said it's a new song.
Yes.
Does that mean you have a new love in your life?
No, that was written for a song for a friend of mine.
Okay.
So
just checking.
I've got a friend in Knoxville, and he's a great individual. He's kind. He took care of us when we went down there.
Yep.
And he showed us around, and we did a WDVX Blue Plate special. It was a radio show that they have.
Yep.
And he's just really kind. He opened his home and his heart to us and fed us and all that stuff. And he asked me to write a song about his love for his woman.
Nice.
And so that's what that's all about.
So as usual, this happens almost every show. We've run out of time, but we have time for you to play one more song.
Sure.
Would you do that for us? Could you undo your mic
Sure,
before you get up? So Will's going to go back and, Will's going to go back and sing a song. Haunt the House for us. Thank you for bringing us into your home. I appreciate it. It's always a wonderful thing. Remember to check on your neighbors. Remember, especially if they're elderly or if they have little children, please check on your neighbors and make sure that they're okay. It is cold weather, and it's time for us to take care of one another. Until next week, everybody, God bless and have a really great week. Bye-bye.
This is the first song off of Jack Rabbit Jones.
Tell my love that I will miss her most. You can't embrace an old departed ghost. You'd find my boots on the Mosquito Coast, with your white Marys at the hitching post. And tell my boys not to drink no gin. You can't leave the tavern if you never go in. And Jesus Christ will tell you it's a sin if an excess alcohol there is within. Tell my body not to leave my soul. I'll grow.